Hey guys, Chris Bassett here. I've been having a little bit of trouble with my Xbox Elite controller with the buttons sticking and the joysticks drifting. So I'm going to take it apart, clean it. I spent about $10 on the tools and the cleaning supplies versus the $100 for a brand new controller. Let's get into it. So in order to open up the controller, you're going to need the security screwdriver that's a T8. You can find them for sale on Amazon for like $5. The bag I bought came off of eBay and it has replacement buttons as well as a T6 and a T8 screwdriver. So I just removed the battery cover, the batteries, all the magnetic parts, the joysticks, and then there's your two screwdrivers. The one on the left is the T6 and the one on the right is the T8. It's a star-shaped bit and they're specialized. That way you can't just remove the screws with like a regular Phillips screwdriver. The kit I bought also had a pry bar to pop off the controller handles that'll allow you to access the back four screws. So the handle's held in place by a couple of clips. Be careful you're not too aggressive and snap those plastic clips off, so just kind of ease it off and it should pop off. Also, if it's the first time taking the controller apart, the handle has a little bit of like double-sided tape in there. So wiggle it back and forth, and then you should see the tape and stuff on the inside. If you don't have access to that little pry handle, blue-handled tool, you can also use like a flathead screwdriver. The smaller it is, the less damage it'll do to the rubber grips. And then I'll just show you the four locations of the screws underneath the grips. You've got one underneath each of the bumpers and then one on each of the corners. So you have four total. And then your fifth and final screw is located under the security sticker. If you kind of push down, you can see it indents. So you got to cut that sticker off and then you can get to the screw underneath. And then go ahead and remove those 5 screws, put them in a safe location so you don't lose them, and then you'll be able to take off the front panel to the controller. And then next you'll want to gain access to the joysticks, so go ahead and remove them. They're just placed on, so you can just pull them right off with your fingers. And if you can't pull them with your fingers, use that pry tool or a little screwdriver to kind of pop them off. Now keep in mind the joysticks have a slotted configuration, so they only go on one way. It's not completely round, it's like oval with flat spots on the sides. So make sure when you're reassembling it, you don't force it on and break it. When you finally get both those joystick covers off, go ahead and inspect the actual analog sticks and then the buttons. Mine were pretty filthy. There was dust, hair, all sorts of debris in there, and that's probably why my joysticks were sticking, and then my X button was really sticky, didn't want to pop back up after I pressed it. Here's a pretty good angle if you can see how much dust and other debris gets down in there that you want to clean out. Same thing goes for your L1, R1 triggers. Make sure they're activating properly and that they're, pretty clean as well. So probably the two most effective cleaning supplies for electronics would be isopropyl alcohol, a couple of Q-tips, and then compressed air with a little nozzle on it. So when I did go out to Walmart and buy the compressed air, it said I had to be over 18 to purchase it. So if you're pretty young, might need a parent to go with you to buy the compressed air. So then here I'm just taking the alcohol and a Q-tip and really wiping off all the gunk and the dust. When you're playing, your hands sweat, and some of that could turn into like a gummy substance around the buttons. And then just continue to clean it up with the alcohol and the compressed air, blow out the dust, and then activate the buttons by pushing them down rapidly as you're cleaning. Move the joysticks around, really clean out every little crack and crevice you can find. 90% of the time, the problem's going to be just because the controller's dirty. I mean, there are issues with the solder breaking or, the electronic components getting damaged, but more often than not, if you're generally careful with your electronics, they last a really long time, and problems arise just from being dirty. There are other guides that show you how to disassemble some of the switches and, go further into repair by buying parts. And, I may eventually end up doing that if my controller fully malfunctions, but for the time being, this seemed to work great, and that's all I'm going to do until other problems arise. Now that everything seems clean and functioning properly, go ahead and throw it back together in reverse order. Hey, check out these other videos right here. I have links down in the description to save some money, so check those out. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments, and if this was helpful, hit the like button. Thanks.